Humans are such selfish creatures. Get this. So selfish that they had to come up with a day at the end of the year to make sure that they gave something to someone else. We have birthdays. And I think the story is that originally people gave out gifts on their birthdays, right? It was your birthday and you gave out a bunch of stuff. I don't know how that works, why that works, where it went, and why it turned around. Some people giving gifts to the person. But here, to elaborate on this idea. So people are they're given gifts instead of giving gifts now. You go and you show up, all right, hey, here's your gift. What's going on? Now, you get to partake in the festivities, including cake and ice cream, which is traditional, and that's what we're talking about here. Including cake and ice cream. All of the fun, everybody's centrally located. So you've got the celebrity, you got the birthday person, you've got all of their friends, which might be some of your own friends, festivities, foodstuffs, and if the memories weren't enough, you might take video or pictures and that get posted later. That's all relatively new. Why don't you take a grab bag? As if it wasn't enough already that you got invited and that you're there celebrating them, but you know what? Take something for yourself. You know what? Why don't you give $150 to this charity? But what we'll say is that you're sitting down for a dinner and a show that people are volunteering to give you. But we're going to put the proceeds to a thing. It's okay, you're getting something, but you're also helping out someone else, or you're giving to someone else. Don't worry. We'll make sure that you're satisfied by getting something. Is man really such a selfish creature that this is the state of the world? And the answer is yes, it really quite is, because that's the state of the world. That's where we're at. Now, do people realize this? No. Some, strictly speaking, we're not talking about people that know these things. Of course, people. Sorry, if you know what I'm talking about, good for you. See, very frustrating, because I don't do the holidays, really don't do birthdays. Like, the only thing that I ask for on my birthday is cake. I just have to have a cake. I don't care who gets it for me, where it comes from. What was it? This year, my birthday just passed, right? My birthday follows my son's birthday by, I don't know, a week. That's not, just about. I made him a cake, which is really good, by the way. I made him a cake, and we got through about half of it, or something, maybe a quarter, I don't know. On my birthday, I just ate the rest of the cake. I took the cake out and I put a little candle in it. I don't even think we ever lit the candle. Put a cup of milk next to the cake, and just every time I walked past it, I'd eat cake. I took the half of his cake. They weren't eating it. He doesn't have a sweet tooth. Cal. Jet loves sweets. He's as bad as I am. Well, as bad as I was. A couple of my sweet, I still love this stuff. My teeth can't handle it. I gotta get some work done. But yeah, it's just, is it disappointment? Is it just sadness? This selfishness of man, which kind of leads me. That's why That's why the Christian God is so selfish. Believe in me and only me, and worship none above me, or whatever that line is. And, you know, it's like, how vain a creation to just be like, yo, I did all of this for you, you owe me everything. And then selfish to say that, you know, I'm going to hold it over you, that if you don't do the things that I say, you don't get a party with me. Which is fine, because, you know, who wants a jerk at the party? But the way he does it is really dumb. And I just can't get in line with it, you know. It's like, yeah, I've talked to the big guy, I've talked to his kid. I am not down with their plan. I mean, they got a lot of really good points, except where it comes to the vain, selfish deity and accepting that you put all of your... Now, see, here's the thing. Sin may not seem like very much to you. Oh, I have transgressed. I have done some manner of wrongdoing. Oh, you must not be a spiritual person. You must not have things like guilt and concern or empathy for others. I don't like doing even the remotely bad things. It's horrible. I don't want to bother people. I don't want to be bothered by people. I want things to go smoothly. I want people to get along. I don't like getting upset. And I've been very upset lately. And that just adds to the frustration. I don't like it. I don't want to continue it. It'd be easier if I didn't keep running into these frustrations that kept my anger elevated. It's because we're all evolved from these animals. We developed our emotions first, and our emotions is what we kind of rely on, and it's like our eyes, you know, you gotta get past the illusion of sight to really know a bunch of stuff. Your memory is faulty, because you only ever look one way. You don't really focus one small part of that one way. You might see a bunch of other stuff, and some people are very capable at seeing everything around them. But your perspective is different from everybody else's, and there are many versions of the truth. Well, that's not true. There are many perspectives on the truth. There we go. But there really is only, you know, one truth, and that is of course what happens. We can't rewind and recall in that manner what has happened. Although if you believe in the Akashic record, then it is attainable, but that's a bunch of malarkey. Well, I mean, it's propaganda. Okay, and I'll give you this one. I'll tell you this is why. Okay, so the Akashic records, if you're familiar with it, then you can skip this part. But don't, because my version of telling is really great. So the Akashic record is, let's say, a library, and I'm using bunny quotes because you can't see, there you go. Bunny quotes, because the Akashic record is a library that stores all of the information, past, present, and future, of everything. It's just like, oh, you know what, at 9:30 and 22 seconds, and blah, 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 etc., the sun did, in fact, fart a little bit. It's incredible. Just a little fart. There wasn't even noticeable. It's like, how you did recording every atom? They're not terribly specific as far as I can recall from my research. Now, here's the thing. Why bother having a copy with everything? I mean, the backup is nice, sure, but like this reference material for all of the things that have ever happened, it's stupid. And I figured it out because people couldn't understand what the Akashic record really is. The Akashic record is, in fact, all of space and time, past, present, and future. That's what it is. And it's not a library, it's just accessible. Some people go there, well, I mean, they know how to travel, they know how to research and find within all of space and time any and every event that has ever happened that they might be curious about. So it's just what is, and not some separate ridiculous thing. There's no point to it. If you want to know something, you just go and look at it and see it, do it, be a part of it, whatever, because that's what makes sense. And see, that's what people don't get about spirituality and magic, is that it does make sense. I mean, psychologically, the repetition, the forms, the attunements, the meditations, the feelings that you get or have, the connection that you build is all very positive for you, and very positive and practical and physically manifest. And you know, there's this thing, I read about it today, I read about it before today, but I read about it as a reminder today because somebody posted this thing about the brain and how thoughts are real. Your thoughts turn into real actions. I can think that I want to wave my hand around, and it does. It moves around. It's amazing. Look at this. Power of thought turning into reality. Now, more than that, your emotions, your thoughts, these are all also exhibited through your physical being. We have these changes in our face that show the emotion that we're feeling inside. Usually. Traditionally, we're speaking. So, like, if you're sad, you look sad. And people can see this. People then get concerned. Now, through no action of your own, or at least willful contemplation, you've attracted somebody to you. And this is, if you're familiar with water and the state of balance that it likes to maintain. You know, you see two things of water, you pull one out, and then, oh, boom, they're balanced. Quiet, you know what I'm talking about. That's what it's like with people and emotions. And it's just, you know, if you're excited, you want people to be excited with you. If they're not, it tends to bring you down. If, like, say, they outweigh you, you know, the happy middle ground is all shut down. You know, you find whatever the average. If they're really low, it brings down your really high, and you both kind of mellow. If you're cheery, if you're feeling better, you're feeling good about it, and you see somebody down, you try and bring them up. Somebody's down, they're not really going to try to bring you down. But if you're really up and they're just like, hey, you know, I think you're a little too excited about this, it might bring you down, because there is a balance. I mean, excitement is good, sadness is the part of things. It's all accepted, or should be so, and you got to work through various things. But, you know, a lot of this is, like I mentioned earlier, the psychology that is currently being implemented into the world, the connections and the materialistic connections or feelings that we have for things, including our own bodies or other people's selves, and how they exist in the world. And there's a lot of regret and guilt and lack of communication and all these things that build up inside of us that we need to get rid of, reaffirm, and make sure that we're a full connection. Here's what happens is, say you meet somebody, okay, boom, you start connecting with them, but you start holding back information. Maybe you start lies. Maybe you don't like something about them. And so as this connection is growing with them, it's also getting spotty. Little patches here and there where you're just not connected. You know, and you got to reroute the system. It messes up your whole chi. You know, the energy flow between the two people, and now you interact with each other. The things you do, things you don't do, things that just don't need to be there. It mucks things up. It makes it harder for them to cheer you on. It makes you cheer them on. Things like that. And so you get all this built up. Say there's something you always wanted to say to them, and you've got this connection. You're holding on to it. It's like a package that needs to be delivered. It just got to get there. And then you can't tell them. They die. Something else, right? Move away. Forget you. Get into an argument. So you've got all this pent up stuff that you're holding on to. This is the baggage that we're talking about emotionally when things happen. You need to clear that crap out. Honest to goodness, that's what needs to happen. The communication has to be there between people. I mean, in a business, in a professional environment, you don't need all this muck emotion and connectivity necessarily. Hi, I'm here to do my job. I'm going to do my job. I want you to know that. And then you go and do your job. Hey, I messed up on my job. I'm sorry. Won't happen again. Please don't get upset. It can be fixed, it can be rectified, give it a little time, help you out with the payments, whatever. Broke a window, sorry. You know, you scratched my car, you son of a bitch. It's a fucking scratch. You can still get to wherever the hell you're going. Sorry for the language there. That is a result of my stress and anxiety that has been elevating this last week. The cursing has not been, well, I mean, there's been more of it than I like, and a lot of it, in my opinion, and I'm not happy about it, and trying to calm down, trying to get everything back and cleared and centered and away from using such foul atrocities. It's just dirty. You want nice, clean, happy. You know, I mean, you can go and play in the mud and play in the rain and run around and paint with your fingers and get it all over you and squirt guns. It's fine. Go do it. Throw a meal at somebody. It's just what it is. It's fun. It can be cleaned up, washed away. It's not a problem. I'm talking about muck. It carries emotion with it. And negativity. There's words, these extremes that we have in our language that we kind of maintain nowadays. The people are all, oh shit, this, fuck that, and just constantly garbage out of their mouth, garbage in their actions. It's ridiculous. Not making the world a better place. They're not making themselves any better. Oh, it's necessary for the environment that I live. F that. You know what? Do something different. Be someone you want to be. That's your version of you that is better. It's like, that's part of this idea with the raising of kids. Okay, you know what? It's how I was raised. What I'm going to do. You know what? If you didn't like it before, why do it now? Did it work? Are you still unhappy and bitter about it? Don't do it to your own kids. You had an example from your parents raising you. You know what you liked, what you responded to, what worked, what didn't work. So you know what? You also have friends and television and so many things. Then you have your child who's going to defy you regardless of however what you try. and frustrate you to no end very often, traditionally. But you gotta keep at it, you gotta try, and you gotta do the things that you honestly believe in, and you gotta talk to your kids. They're not stupid, especially nowadays. You can talk to them. I mean, they know more about computers than you do. Think about it. They know about everything more than you. They're learning calculus in like 3rd grade. Okay, so I mean, the physics, they're not dumbing down. The way they explain physics without the math, it's all visuals and stuff. And they're showing this to kids. Physics is very big again. Space is very big again, very popular, a lot of hype. And kids are learning this. Kids are learning math and other languages. I mean, how many more languages does your kid know than you do? We are programming our children for this repetition and patterns. All the kids shows follow this routine, this regimen. Oh, this is what's going to happen, or we're going to drill this into you. And I had a word for it, or a phrase for it, the other day, and I completely slipped out of my mind. But we're programming our children to, it's partly data process, run a program, something like that. It's like, okay, we got to get to the tree and through over the river, and then we're at the mountain with the castle. This is that one such program, right? And then we raise them with the, it's like the early hopes and desire. Oh, you know what's really cool? Firemen and astronauts and policemen. These are all great. We don't really say farmers much, but this is what a farmer does. Yeah, farmers. Why don't you grow up, go to college, and then work in a cubicle? Or become a CEO and work in an office? Because that's all well and good. I'm truly wondering how many people are out there just like, oh, I'm totally living my dream with this telecommunications job. I'm just, hey, how's it going? Do you want some telecom? I'm on the phone, talking to people. And that's what I mean by telecommunications. Telecommunications is a very incredible field, actually. The transmission of protons bouncing back and forth and filling up everything with all of this energy. It's rather incredible. Buzzing. I wonder if that explains the great reduction in ghost activity. Besides the point. Anyway, so check, backwards, fixed, done, also good. Oh, okay. Selfish people, right? We're raising our children to ideals that we have. It's like, this is my ideas, this is what I favor, this is what's good. You know what? Don't like these people. You should like these people. It's a very difficult thing because so many people are wrong. Again, getting back to morals and ideals and traditions, there's a lot of really good stuff out there, but any kind of negativity and prejudice is just wrong. Here's the thing, and we're gonna go with the good book and JC on this one. But there's this notion that you love everybody, love your enemy, kill your enemy with kindness, which is to say that if you turn an enemy into a friend, then you've gotten rid of your enemy, you've killed your enemy, because of that change. Because now, and I can attribute this to tarot, the death card. Oh, death card. It's changed. Fires change. Life is just change all the time. Common knowledge is the cycle of the body. I just watched a Deepak Chopra, is that his name? Talking about, and I'd heard it before, but it was interesting to hear him talking about it. The physical changes that occur in your body on a regular basis. You know, the skin changes in a week. Where the hell am I? Harbor Boulevard. I'm driving to the old house. Trying to get back to Fate. Missed my exit. Man, that castle rocks. Anyway, so we have all these developing ideas, really good stuff that is directly in conflict with like all these preconceived notions that we have, or that we were brought up with, or that were drilled into us. And it's bizarre, and it's weird, and it's really frightening to see the world as it is today. I mean, there's a lot of really great potential, but the idiots with the guns are going to kill everyone before that potential can get realized. So, I mean, half the world's still operating on animal instinct, emotions, threats, and fears. That's the word. And then the other half is just trying to think about things. And so, hey, let's talk about this. And then you're punched in the face. Well, what are you going to do then? Because number one, survival is important. Defense is important. You don't have to hate. If you get sick, like with bacteria and infection, it's not evil. It's not out to get you. It doesn't know you. It doesn't care about you. It's not trying to hurt you. It's trying to survive. And so we don't deal with it with hatred, negativity. We deal with it biologically, biochemically, health, whatever. And that is that it is threatening our survival, our health. And so it needs to be removed. It's cold, it's business, it's life. Bare minimum, it's life. It's trying to do, and then there's a practical purpose to a lot of it. And poisons and antiseptics, sanitizer cream, liquid gels and things are killing. I mean, a lot of stuff that, would build up and mutate and become more threatening and possible. It's breaking things up. I mean, the viruses are increasing. The viruses are all these little fragments of atomic molecular structure that get into the body, and they're just enough to start spinning out of control and making themselves reproduce. And I mean, it's fantastic. I think mathematically it's all been proven to exist the way it does, which is really interesting. Because theoretically, you could take the whole thing and just do it all up in a computer. It's like, okay, here are all the right factors, clickety-clack, give me some kind of representation. And of course, you need quantum computing because of the scale of it. But you could get something that looks very much like the evolution of the species, and you can throw in fact, okay, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and mess with this, we're gonna mess with that. These are the conditions. Now it's all because, I mean, it's very interesting. It's just everything kind of builds the way it does, and it needs this environment to sustain itself. I was thinking about this last couple of days. Is your body is filled with, let's say, primordial goo, okay? Because it was in this batch of chemicals, this breakdown, I should mention, of chemicals, because that's the important thing. We're talking about the atomic structure of the molecules in your body. You know, what the hell is it? Dinonucleic acid? Dino? Why can't I remember the first word? Anyway, the important thing about it is that it's one molecule. Why is it? Why is it one molecule? And that's because everything's attached. The sugar to the phosphorus to the ACGU. It's all attached, and it just stacks on itself. You know, there's just these four little bits surrounded by all this other stuff holding it together. You know, our brain, DNA's sugar and phosphorus at an atom connected to these other things, and it all spins real tightly around, and then this other stuff comes in, and it just happens to interact in a way that it does, that it splits the thing up and reproduces it, and that's just the chemicals, all these proteins and primordial goo that cause it to sustain itself. And so as soon as it started building initially, this atom and this atom and that atom and in the goo, and it had, you know, there's a lot of goo, probably a lot of pieces that kind of came together initially. Not all of them survived, and that's, you know, think about it. That's reproduction, isn't it? I mean, you look at bunny rabbits; they reproduce like nuts. Why? Because the hawk's going to come down and eat half the litter, or a coyote, or a dog, and so they reproduce in great bunches. It wouldn't surprise, you know. I would say technically that, and then this is kind of a proven thing, but the words that I've never heard the words, but these protein fragments that supposedly we could have kicked off and started things. It was all pretty much like a virus. I mean, without a host to infect, because we are the primordial goo walking around now. The virus gets inside, and it's some broken, mismatched thing, and starts interacting with the chemical goop inside of you. It's like, oh, I like this, it reacts this way. It's okay, you know what, we're going to throw some Mentos and some Diet Cola. Boom! Exploding Diet Cola. And that's just the reaction. Well, supposedly it's these little micro fissures in the Mentos that are interacting with the carbon dioxide, forcing it to expand at an accelerated rate. And then boom. But still, that's a physical reaction. Chemical. You drop a piece of chicken into your belly, and your belly's filled with all these acids, and it starts churning, and it's breaking up that chicken into smaller and smaller pieces. And it takes all those little pieces. I mean, we're talking down to possibly molecular sizes, because it then goes and takes all these little bricks that are atoms and molecules, and it diverts them all over your body to make new muscle, to turn it into proteins and other things that eventually get to the cells so that they can reproduce. They have the right nutrients to recreate themselves, to split. Muscles reproduce, skin, bone gets stacked upon itself and changed out. All in an effort to recreate these necessary conditions for conditions for it to simply continue doing what it's doing. So where do we get to life, complex life forms such as rabbits and turtles and birds and spiders and things like that, and then eventually us and the supposed intelligence and emotion? Where does that all play a factor? How did that get integrated into the system? Where is it also just a mathematic anomaly? Yeah, sure, why not? I think it's amazing. Is it divine? No, I mean it's magical. You can create a spiritual connection to it. It's a belief system. Was it built by anybody? No. I mean, they'd have to be built by the same rules, right? Not technically. But when we're looking, see, that's the thing. When we get into quantum computing, we can take the atoms of the periodic table of elements, and we can throw that mess into the computer along with all of the stuff we already know, and we can start looking at the way things can be combined with as close to eco-friendly as we can. It's also based it all on practicality and necessity, and we can start generating all these different new things for the world. But I mean, that's remotely necessary when we're talking about the way air interacts with itself, which is fantastic, amazing. I mean, take a breath. You're not in a big void. You're surrounded by atoms. The density's just less, you walk on one and surrounded by another. It's very, very interesting. But try not to forget that you see through this great soup that we breathe in and feel the breeze. I'm tired. Be good, think. Don't hurt anyone. Share.